All right, so we have a lot of points on the docket today, quite a few actually, but they seem to be more minor points. First of all, I wanted to start with the new Ghostbusters film, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, while I have not seen the film, I can tell you just from the promotional footage that it seemed like it was bog average, and that's coming from a guy who liked Afterlife, which is why I didn't go out to see Frozen Empire. But I know somebody who did. Speak your minds, Guido.
Yeah. So I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire literally opening day,
Mm.
like when it came out. And so coming from the trailers, I wasn't expecting anything too crazy, but the movie I imagined in my head was a lot better than the actual movie. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire wasn't bad. It's just a lot of wasted opportunities and missed potential, I think. It's just okay. It's an okay movie. It has its moments. I think some people are gonna like it. It's kids are definitely gonna fucking love it if they go see it, and
Right.
if they don't get scared easily. Because this movie focuses a lot more on the scares than I think the previous Ghostbusters movies do, which is
Hmm.
kind of weird. But also, like in focusing on that, there's a lot more ghosts I think in this movie, but they don't really do anything with them. It's just like I feel like 90% of the movie is exposition and filler before you get to the final battle,
Damn.
and then even then the final battle is kind of anticlimactic. So it's just like, all right, that was a movie that I watched. It exists. Didn't
So,
really do anything for me.
so what I'm getting from this is that you take a movie like Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and while you have crazy cool action scenes, when they're fighting ghosts, you also have really charismatic actors speaking good lines, so like one of the more
Yeah,
memorable moments of the Ghostbusters film is the banter between Ghostbusters. And from what I saw in the trailer, it seems like the dialogue here isn't exactly anywhere near as witty as the original two. Are you agreement there, or what's up?
honestly, I would say the banter is definitely like one of the better parts of the movie, and I
Hmm.
like the cast, but there's too many people in this cast. There's too
Oh.
many people in this movie, and the movie's like I think it's like just under 2 hours if you're not including credits, and so it goes by quick because they're bouncing off of everyone. There's like three different subplots in this movie that all like converge by the end, but it just feels like too much.
Hmm.
I think so. Like the character banter is fine. I like that aspect of the movie. In comparison to the originals, I don't know. I mean, like the original four, they kind of have their own energy, their own aura compared to like the newer guys. So it's definitely gonna feel a lot different.
Hmm.
But I just think this movie had too many characters, and also you know how Afterlife was like a passing of the torch movie
Right.
because like you had the OG Ghostbusters, and it was kind of like all right, these are like the new kids. This movie's also kind of a passing of the torch movie. So how many movies is it going to take to pass the torch on to the newer Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's my thing. Like when I saw that Bill Murray was in it, I'm like, why? Didn't they just do that with Afterlife? Like they brought everybody
Yeah,
back. It was the passing of the torch. It was in memory of one of the Ghostbusters who died.
yeah,
Like it was a good send off, and I enjoyed it. And then when I saw that they did it again in this movie, I just thought, why?
yeah,
It seemed to me. I haven't seen the movie. I just saw the trailers, and from what
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw, it seems not. I'm not saying it's gonna say. I'm not saying it's pointless, but it definitely doesn't have as much purpose as the original Afterlife. Do you concur with that? How do you feel?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This movie just feels like just another Ghostbusters movie, like without any real rhyme or reason. Like there's no purpose in making this one.
Mm.
Whereas the last one was just, oh, we're bringing the Ghostbusters back. We're passing the torch, but this movie is mainly in memory of I don't remember the actor's name, unfortunately,
I'll
but
look
the
it up.
character Spangler,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the fourth Ghostbuster. So like it was in memory of him. That's kind of what the whole movie was centered around. This one doesn't really feels like it has a purpose. It's just a movie that they made because the last one did well.
Yeah,
That's how it feels.
his name was Harold Ramis. Yeah, that guy.
Harold Ramis, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was great in the original too. I love Spangler. Spangler was probably one of my favorite Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he
But
was he was damn good. Now that I remember who. Yep, he was damn
yeah,
good. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so Afterlife I think was such a great like send off for the OG cast, and it was like yeah, the Ghostbusters are finally back, and then this one kind of felt like I guess based on the ending of Afterlife, they felt obligated to do another one,
Mm-hmm.
and so like now we have Frozen Empire, but this one doesn't really do anything crazy to, I guess, warrant like being a sequel. Maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe it just needs to be a fun, entertaining movie. But even then, it's just okay.
Yeah, I mean, como se dice, from what you're telling me, it doesn't seem like I really miss much, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're using the trailer as reference. All the best moments were in the trailers. So
Oh,
if
well,
you just watch the marketing, you get all the best moments of the movie.
then fair. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. I may watch this down the line whenever I do rewatch Afterlife, because I am planning to rewatch Afterlife.
Yeah.
I remember watching Afterlife in theaters, and it was just such a great experience. I remember there was some crazy setup with like the cabin that they were living in, and like that when the como se dice, like the character of what was his name again? I'm so horrible. Yeah, Ramis. When Ramis died, like in character in that film, like it was a great setup. It gave you a cute sense of paranoia. It also gave you an acute sense of this villain is going to be extremely hard to vanquish. You know, like it was a good build up. They used that very well, and I think it was very respectful towards the actor. I
And
enjoyed.
I think it was cool that. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You finish.
I was gonna say I think it was cool that the villain in Afterlife was also the same one from the original Ghostbusters. Like the ghost like came back and was haunting, I guess, Spangler, and he dedicated the last years of his life to, keeping the ghost at bay.
Right.
So I think that's a cool like premise, and that's a good way of bringing back the OG Ghostbusters and the OG villain, and have it all tie up together.
Well, yeah, I agree with all of that. It definitely made the ending scene feel a lot more powerful as well, because like this is the ghost that killed Spangler. You know what I mean? Like, gotta take him out, and then the whole reveal of the old Ghostbusters coming back was pretty damn cool as well. So overall, it was a damn good film from what I watched. It wasn't the best. It definitely had some issues, mainly with the kid acting. You know what I mean? I did like the main character, but like, yeah, some of the comedy with the kids didn't hit for me. But overall, Afterlife was a damn good experience. I'd give it like a solid 7, maybe close to an 8. It depends. But when I watched it in Dolby, I remember just being amazed by, como se dice, the sound quality and like how crazy that movie was. It's just, I wasn't expecting it to be good because of Ghostbusters 2016, and it blew me out of the water. So I'm thankful for that. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, like Frozen Empire is not short on. Definitely, it's made by passionate people, because this movie in particular, what stood out to me from Frozen Empire was that it has a very nice blend of CGI and practical effects. And when there is a lot of CGI, like with the ghost and in the final battle, it looks really, really good. Like everything looks top notch visually. The movie is incredible. It looks really good. Yeah, a lot of my problems are just in the story. Too many characters. I guess too short of a runtime with the amount of characters that they've had, and it was just not. The plot itself just wasn't interesting. It's a lot of exposition for exposition's sake. It's just dumping information on you, biding time before it's like, okay, now we got to fight this thing.
Do you feel like they masked the exposition well?
No.
Yeah, because that's
definitely not. It's a lot of like very obvious exposition, and it's just a lot of information thrown at you. And they try to like use jokes and like levy it up a bit, but it's not really there all the way. I think a lot of it is just dry information being spoon fed to you.
Because I feel like there's quite a few movies who are capable of doing that giving you a lot of exposition without it feeling like an exposition dump. I think one of the most like como se dice, obvious cases of this is The Hateful Eight with Tarantino. I mean, those characters are constantly talking about their backstory all the fucking time, except that the conversation between them feels so natural and genuine, and you're thinking in the back of the head, like, well, what the hell else would they talk about? Like, all the stuff that they're talking about is stuff you would think they talk about. Like, the characters are their own entity at that point, and that's how Tarantino writes. So the conversations, even though there are a lot of exposition about, como se dice, their beliefs, their backgrounds, their whatnot, it's very realistic in the way that it's presented, and it's very seamless. I think that's a good way to put it. Extremely seamless.
Yeah.
So,
And the Hateful Eight, they make use of flashbacks too, right? It's
oh
been a
yeah,
while
yeah,
since I've seen them.
a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't actually use it as much. They used it for the scene where Samuel Jackson was talking his shit to the
Yeah,
old man, but they didn't really use it much after that. They only used it one other
gotcha.
time.
Gotcha.
But that's crazy how they can make you visualize exactly what they're talking
Hmm.
about just with their words. Like the flashbacks weren't even needed, you know. The only
Yeah.
time where it was needed was when Major Marquez, Samuel Jackson's character, was talking shit to the old man because of the act that was being done. I won't say it here, but you get my drift. It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So,
I guess my problem with the exposition in Ghostbusters was that a lot of it just kind of feels like, so it feels like they're presenting a mystery, right? Like
mm,
the movie's a mystery. There's this mysterious ghost that's stuck in like this orb. That's kind of the plot. And like apparently this ghost has like a really big history and is really powerful and can command other ghosts. It's this crazy thing. But it just feels like like the mystery that they were setting up and the exposition they were giving you leads to fucking nowhere.
mm,
It's like what's happening in the movie, like with the ghost and the Ghostbusters, does not correlate at all to the exposition. It does not link them. The ghost is not linked to the Ghostbusters in any meaningful way. It's
mm.
just, oh, it's just a random ghost that has been around for like 100 years. We got to stop it. That's kind of like that's the most relationship that they have to that ghost, and I think the movie would have benefited from the ghost maybe having some sort of connection to the Ghostbusters past. Like maybe the original Ghostbusters just defeated it like randomly, in like maybe a scene that we didn't have in Ghostbusters 1 or 2, and then they maybe have a small flashback or something. And then, when you get to the new one and the OG Ghostbusters see it, it's just like, oh, we beat that ghost before. It was really easy. Maybe now the ghost is more powerful. Just something, but it just felt like they were presenting a mystery that didn't have an actual like point. I wasn't like thinking about, ooh, this is an interesting mystery. I want to see where this leads, or
And
I'm
how
not
is
picking up clues.
right?
It's
And how is this going to tie in with the rest of the story? You
Yeah,
know.
and it feels like it doesn't.
Mm.
It's just, eh.
Yeah,
It was, eh.
I
And
feel
like
you.
where I thought the movie was gonna go was more interesting than where the movie actually went. And then, based on the trailers and the teaser posters, I kind of had this whole plot in my movie, bruh.
Hey Dan,
I
you
had a
heard it
plot
here
in my
first. He's
head.
making a film. Yeah.
I had a plot in my head that I thought like was gonna be the movie, and that wasn't the movie, and I was kind of disappointed. Because what I thought the movie was gonna be was that the whole movie was the Frozen Empire. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because the teaser poster has them in they have like these red, I guess like thermal Ghostbusters uniforms, and they're with the Ecto One, uh, like in the streets of New York, like a frozen New York. So I thought that the whole movie was gonna be kind of like maybe it's like a kind of a lockdown type of movie where it's
Right.
like a lot of it takes place within the fire station, maybe because maybe they're frozen in or something, and they have to kind of figure out what's going on and stop the ghost. But the Frozen Empire thing wasn't until like the last 10 minutes of the movie,
Mm.
and that's kind of like what all the marketing is based on. So
That
I feel
fucking
like I,
sucks.
so I feel like I imagined a much more interesting movie than what we actually got. And then the red thermal Ghostbuster outfit that they have in the trailer and in the poster, they don't even wear. They're just wearing the OG Ghostbusters uniform.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah, I kind of had. I feel like I was misled with the marketing a little
Okay,
bit.
well, I can safely say that this is bullshit. Then I'm not gonna watch it. Yeah, and now that you said that, it's like, first of all, you marketed this entire fucking movie like it was gonna be that Frozen Empire, and then they fucking Jason takes Manhattan us and fucking and just straight up said, "Fuck
When New
you."
York is like the last fucking the
Yeah,
ending of the
the ending
movie.
of the fucking movie is like, nah, there's no way. Okay, now that I know
Yeah.
what they're doing, it's like, okay, they were deceptive with it, and it's not even subverting you, it's just not telling you. Alright, fair, fuck you.
No.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm watching Afterlife. I'm not even gonna touch Frozen Empire. Unless the third one of this trilogy is magnanimous, which I doubt it. I'm not watching Frozen Empire. I don't care. That's it.
Yeah.
I made my decision.
They also didn't even sequel bait, which
That's
I
crazy.
like. I like. I'm like, okay, like the story's over. Like Ghostbusters, go on. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Cool.
If there's a third one, cool. If there's not, I'm fine with that too.
I hope, to be honest, I hope there's a third one because after seeing Afterlife, they definitely have some potential. So let's hope that the third one comes out and it's damn good. You know what I mean? But from what I've seen,
I mean, Frozen Empire seems like a really unique premise that they just didn't take advantage of.
yeah. I mean, what was the budget on it? I want to look that up real quick.
I'm not sure. The thing about Ghostbusters, and I maybe have a different perspective on the franchise than most other people, but when I watched like the OG ones when I was younger, I never really considered Ghostbusters to be like this crazy like IP that's like this huge blockbuster. I always saw it as kind of like a fun, goofy comedy with like about busting ghosts. And maybe it's because I wasn't around when the original movies came out, so maybe I don't know like how big it was. But I feel like presenting it now as a huge blockbuster is not really doing the franchise justice.
Well, that was the original intent. That was the original intent when the movie came out. It was just meant to be this nice thing with this cool concept, let's see what's going on. And then after the first one, they made the second one a whole lot bigger, you know what I mean, which still made a lot of money. And so that kind of like cemented it in people's minds. It was just like, hey, this is crazy. What a big blockbuster. But they never went past that. And then when Ghostbusters 2016 came around, everyone was just like, "Oh, you fuckers!
Kill the franchise."
Exactly. You took it out of its grave just to kill it again." And then Afterlife revived it, but in a respectful way, So I enjoyed that. But I agree with you that making it feel like a blockbuster is kind of the wrong direction, considering the premise of the first two, at least the first one, is very simple. Just saying. Continue.
And like Frozen Empire takes a lot of story beats from the other Ghostbusters movies, so it's like it's not this crazy big unique blockbuster. It's just a sequel to an ongoing franchise. But I feel like it shouldn't be presented as big as it is. Because it feels like in all the marketing, it's just like, this is the next big thing. Like, kind of like an Avengers or MCU level movie where it's like, you have to go out and see this and you have to like experience it in theaters and watch it. And it's like, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, then yeah, I can see having that perspective and wanting to go see it day one. But coming from someone like me who I enjoy the Ghostbusters movies, but I wouldn't consider myself a big fan, I don't see this franchise like in that regard at that level. It's like, yeah, people love it and they want to go out and see it. Good on them. But I don't think it should be marketed and promoted as like this MCU level franchise because it's not there. It's just a fun goofball comedy about busting ghosts with a little bit of horror elements in there. That's really all it needs to be. It doesn't need to like blow your mind. And I feel like all the marketing is making it seem bigger than it is. It's overblown. Sony is overblowing, I think, what the IP really is to promote the movie.
I agree with that, and one point I want to add is that at the end of the day, I feel like the reason why they do this is because of the budgets that these movies entails. It's ridiculous how much money they're paying these actors for the special effects, for the CGI. I mean, they're paying a lot of money. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't feel like these kinds of films need that kind of big a budget. If they were to kind of shorten the scope of the film, it would probably be better. Because as you said, there were plenty of points around Frozen Empire that just kind of faltered. If they just focused on one plot point, maybe a little sub thing, but mostly just the one, and put all of their energy into that, it probably would have been a better film. That's what I'm seeing.
And I wonder if the original intention was for the movie to be this big frozen, New York landscape. It
must have.
And then they just probably didn't have the budget to do it. So it's like, well, let's save the Frozen Empire for like the last 10 minutes. And then the rest of the movie is just a normal Ghostbusters movie. So, like, I don't know. I feel like I want to know if something went on behind the scenes. Probably not. Maybe this was the movie they wanted to make the whole time. I don't know. To me, it feels anticlimactic. I feel like this movie should have been more than it was.
It may have been. I think what it is that the marketing was misleading, and that's out of the creator's hands. And so was the title. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. At the end of the day, I just feel like it was misleading because of the marketing more than the actual film itself. So there you go. That's what I think.
They should rename this to Ghostbusters. It's a bit chilly.
It's a bit... it's lukewarm at best. Oh man!
But I like Paul Rudd a lot in this movie though, and I'm kind of disappointed that his best line in the movie is also in the trailer when he says "Bustin' makes me feel good." That was a funny joke. I really like that scene.
Paul Rudd is something special. Yeah, I mean, he's hilarious.
Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to point out, I guess to make you want to watch the movie even less.
Oh, jeez.
All the Bill Murray in the trailer. That's basically the same amount of time he's in the movie.
I expected that. Yeah, I expected
Yeah,
that. I mean,
he's not. He has 2 scenes. Apparently, there was a third one that is not in the movie, but was like in one of the trailers.
Oh Jesus! You know they spoiled me with Afterlife. That's the thing, right? Because when I saw Afterlife, I just thought that Bill Murray will pop up at the end and like that's it. But then he had like a whole after credits thing as well with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah,
like, that's awesome. I love this movie.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing is, they didn't need to have Sigourney Weaver there, but they did. That
Yeah.
made it so much better. Made it so much better.
Of course, you know what I mean. Like that. That's what I'm saying. Is Afterlife, you could tell like this is a faithful not even reboot. It's just a sequel. It's a straight up sequel. You know, this is Ghostbusters 3. As far as I'm concerned, I think Afterlife is Ghostbusters 3. You should watch 1, 2, and Afterlife. That's it. You should watch that.
I would agree with that.
I think that's it. You know, 3 may not be, and this just depends on your personal bias. 3 may not be as good as 1 and 2 in your opinions, but I do believe Afterlife is definitely a worthy sequel, especially how many years after 2 was made. So I do think Afterlife is 3. And then that's all I really have for the Ghostbusters universe. I don't want to see 2016. I don't want to see Frozen Empire. I'm good. That's it.
Yeah. I think maybe I'll watch Frozen Empire again if it's something that is like a friend wants to see it. And then it's like, sure, I'll watch it with you.
Right.
I think to me, that's like one of those movies where it's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch Frozen Empire again. But I wouldn't be opposed to watching it. It's just, it's a movie.
It's okay.
It's okay.